My name is Mike Verse, and I'm the fastest man alive. Wait, that's the wrong Flash. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, enough jokes. I actually can't believe I seen the movie. I can actually talk about The Flash. The movie actually exists, guys. Don't worry. It's real. I don't know when this video is coming out, but I made a Across Spider-Verse video. I'm gonna start doing these more for movies that are coming out that I love, and I don't know, just want to make videos on, or maybe old movies that I love. Who knows? But I'm gonna call it verse reviews. It's gonna be just me talking about it, doing little video essays on the movies that I want to talk about. So this might be the first episode. We usually just review movies on the podcast and just take clips from there and just put it in their own thing. But I want to get more personal with these movies, especially about The Flash. And what a great two first movies to start with, The Flash and Across the Spider-Verse. Okay, so I saw the film the other day in an early screening. I waited a lot of hours. So thank you to Warner Brothers, even though I wasn't invited. I would love to get invited. So Warner Brothers, can you please invite me to your movies and any other studio? I'll review them right when I see them. And I just want to see your movies. I don't want to wait in line for 7 hours like I did for The Flash. But hey, we're here. I was the first one in line. I got there at 2 o'clock and the movie didn't start until like 7:30. So your man was waiting for The Flash. And even though I had to wait that many hours for The Flash, I had to sit in the first couple rows. Like the screen was all the way on top. But his eye. The critics and like the reserved seats skipped everybody, even though I was the first one there. But I have to grind, I have to get there, I have to get that invite. But anyways, I know the film isn't out, so no spoilers. I'm not gonna touch too much on certain topics. The film doesn't come out until like another week. So no spoilers at all. I got you guys. So before going into the film, I was saying all the hype, all the positive reviews. This is the greatest movie ever. The blockbuster. Tom Cruise loves it. It's a movie that we need right now. It's the best DC movie ever. Best DC movie since The Dark Knight, which isn't saying much to be honest with you, but So there's a lot of hype around this film, and there's also a lot of controversy and problems. Ezra Miller. There's a lot going behind the scenes with this film. But okay. Here's what I'm going to say about Ezra Miller before we get started. Yes, they are a horrible person. Horrible. Warner Brothers did not handle the situation good at all. Should you boycott the film because of Ezra Miller? That's entirely up to you. If you don't feel comfortable watching The Flash, then don't. But I do see critics and other people review the movie and all they talk about is Ezra Miller and not just the movie. Like they go and point out the negatives and whatever. They mostly spend time on talking about Ezra Miller. And I get the stuff they did and all that, but like look at the movie. Not Ezra Miller. If you're gonna review the movie, review the movie. That's all I'm gonna say. But don't like I get it. Ezra Miller should not be playing the Flash at all after this point. Recast the Flash. I don't think it's fair to everyone that's not Ezra Miller, the hard work they put in, especially the director Andy Muschietti. I hope I pronounced that right. I don't know. But there's a lot of people working in this film. And if you watch the film, you see the love that have been put into this film. Like a lot of people worked on it. Like there's so much stuff that was going on behind the scenes besides Ezra Miller too. Warner Brothers starting over, getting sold, bought, whatever, starting DC Universe. Like a lot of stuff, and it's a miracle that this film even exists and actually is decent. That's the reason why I want to see the film, and also the movie was announced when I started watching The Flash. Like the movie was announced after the first episode of the Flash TV show, and I love The Flash, so I've been waiting for this movie. It got delayed a lot. I really want to see everybody else that worked so hard to put this movie together. And also Supergirl, Michael Keaton as Batman. Like there's so much stuff going on in this movie besides Ezra Miller. Alright, enough bullshit. Let's get into the juicy stuff. Let's get into the movie. What you guys really want to hear. Is The Flash the best movie ever? Is it the best DC movie ever? Best DC movie since The Dark Knight? Was Tom Cruise right? And was it worth waiting all those hours for the movie? Did it live up to the hype? Sort of. Okay, I needed time to think. This is why it took me so long to do this review. And here's what I'm gonna say. Do I think the movie is overhyped? Yes. Like, it's so crazy overhyped. Do I think it's the best thing ever? No. Best DC movie ever? No. But it's definitely one of DC's best films ever. Me personally, it's not saying much because the DCEU or DCU, whatever they call it now, I don't know, is not the greatest. Like, the top 3 movies for me or The Suicide Squad, directed by James Gunn, Shazam, and then I'll put The Flash up there, right above Wonder Woman. Cause I do think Wonder Woman is a fantastic film, also. And also, I just watched Across the Spider Verse twice, and that's one of the greatest films I ever seen, and the best comic book movie I've seen in forever. And The Flash is not that, and that's fine. Don't get me wrong, that's totally fine. I didn't expect it to be better than Across the Spider Verse or even the best thing I ever seen. Film fans nowadays, especially on Twitter, like something has to be either the worst thing in the world or the best thing in the world. There's no in between. It's either a 1 or a 10 or a 1 star or a 5 star, and that's not fair at all. We're on a roll right now. We have 3 great comic book movies that were really well directed, and we saw the director's vision in those 3 comic book movies. That's another thing why I like this movie. But yes, I think The Flash is actually a lot of fun. I'm not spoiling, this is the story literally in the trailer and all that. Basically, Barry's dad is in prison for the murder of his mom, without any evidence confirming it was actually Barry's dad. He'd been looking to get anything to prove his dad is actually innocent and out of jail. But he can't, so he discovers that if he runs fast enough, he can travel back in time and save his mom. But in doing so, he messes the entire goddamn timeline and universe, whatever. So now, like you see in the trailer, we got 2 Barrys walking around. Michael Keaton is Batman and not Ben Affleck. Zod is back. There's no Superman, but there is a Supergirl. Everything is just fucked up. If you read the comic book storyline, The Flash, you know what's gonna happen. You know the storyline. Or if you watch a TV show like I did, you know what's gonna happen. You know the twist and all that. And I will say they actually included a lot from the original storyline, which is actually dope. The 2017 Justice League, I wasn't really a big fan of Ezra Miller as Flash. I really thought the character was annoying and too much like Peter Parker and stuff like that. I just wasn't on board with the character. Zack Snyder's Justice League made him a bit more likable. I always thought Ezra Miller was a good actor. You can literally look at my letterbox and see Perks of Being a Wallflower is one of my favorite films of all time. It's in my top 10. But I wasn't really expecting to like Barry in this film, I'm gonna be honest. But once the film starts, the character got me. I'm not gonna lie. The humor works. They kind of play into the whole Barry is annoying thing with the other version of him, which I like. The main Barry actually finds the other Barry annoying and talking too much and all that, so that's actually funny. But yeah, man, the humor, the charm of Barry Allen is crazy once this movie starts. The first act is really something. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. So thank God this is not spoiler, because it doesn't sound real if I explain it to you. I also really like how the Flash runs in this movie. The first time we actually see him run is really dope. I see people complain about how he actually runs, but who's we to say how somebody runs that's faster than anything else in the universe, faster than the speed of a bullet and all that? Like, come on. I always thought that argument was dumb. Also, this film spends a lot of time explaining like little stuff. In some movies, they just run past like the little things and that doesn't need explaining. But in this film, for some reason, they actually explain a lot of little details that we didn't need to know, but I actually really thought that was actually dope. Another thing too that I really like in the beginning of the film is Ben Affleck. Not in the movie at all. What you see in the trailer is really what you get. And I'm not gonna lie, Ben Affleck's portrayal as Batman in this film is the best portrayal he had of Batman. It's sad that he's leaving, but he actually got Batman in this movie. I always had a problem with his Batman, with the killing and all that, but I kind of like this portrayal as Batman. It's a little bit more on the comic booky side, especially his suit is blue, as you see in the trailer. I'm really curious to see what Andy Muschietti has for the next Batman movie. I'm hearing he's directing the next one, so I wouldn't mind seeing a more comic booky Batman, since we're gonna have Robin Pattinson Batman be the more realistic one and all that. But I don't know, Ben Affleck is really great in this film as Batman. I actually dug it a lot. But yeah, the humor is really good, and it feels good to actually laugh on a comic book movie too. Action is good for the most part. I will say the CGI is not the best, and it's not any different from the trailer, I'm gonna be honest. It did look a little video game to me, especially in the third act. For me personally, it didn't really take me out of the film. I didn't have a big problem with it. I was still deeply invested in the story going on and with the characters, because this movie really has some big stakes. Like, you feel the stakes in this movie. There is one part in the third act that didn't sit well with me. The third act is supposed to be this big climax moment, a lot of serious stuff going on, but they do one scene that's for like a joke, and it's supposed to be like a fun scene in this serious climax, and it didn't work for me. I didn't like that. It just seemed weird to put that scene in that moment. But overall, the CGI didn't pull me totally out of the film. I thought the suit looked alright. It did look weird in some scenes. And also, we spent a lot of time with 2 Barrys in the same shot, and they actually look great. There was only 1 or 2 scenes where I was like, I could see that one's fake and now it's the real one. I could see the face looks weird in this scene. I don't know, but it was only like 2 seconds of the scene. But most of the time, it does look good. Thank God, because we spent a lot of time with them, so that they had to make sure those scenes look good. One Barry's kind of serious and the other is kind of goofus and playing around and doesn't know how to be a superhero. The other Barry is basically a better version of what we got in the 2017 Justice League, to be honest. Yeah, the first act is really dope, but the second act of the film, amazing. The second act is probably the film's best writing, best action, best and anything. I was laughing and smiling throughout that entire second act, bro. There's a lot of deep cut movie references, whatever. You know what I mean. A lot of movie lovers are gonna get a kick out of it. I definitely got it and laughed so goddamn much. So those scenes were actually really smart. I'm surprised that even made it into the film. The film is highly, highly, highly inspired by Back to the Future. This is literally the Back to the Future comic book movie. No joke. And I love that. Back to the Future is one of my favorite films ever. Barry is literally Marty, and Michael Keaton Batman is literally Doc. Speaking of Michael Keaton, I'm not the biggest fan of Michael Keaton. I didn't grow up with him. I definitely seen his films growing up, but you know, Christian Bale is my guy. I'm young, but I do appreciate Michael Keaton movies, and I do go back and watch them time to time. But now, after watching The Flash, I love Michael Keaton as Batman. This dude kicked ass. There's some really great scenes with Michael Keaton as Batman. I'm a big Batman guy, so those scenes are gonna make Batman fans really happy. Like, I was actually really surprised they dived that deep with Batman in this movie. So I really love what they did with the character. His fight scenes were dope. Seeing him actually kick ass and like can move around and all that was really dope. Now Sasha as Supergirl, that was fire. She looked amazing. She looks beautiful. I'm not gonna lie. I really like her approach as Supergirl. She did a great job for the screen time she did have. Really wish she had more screen time. That's one of the problems I do have with the film. We don't really have that much with Supergirl. I wouldn't mind James Gunn keeping her for her own Supergirl movie. I think that would be really good. But I just wanted more with her. Zod was a waste, to be honest. We don't really see much of Zod. Not that we like needed a lot of Zod, because we do know, like, we've seen Zod in Man of Steel. We know what he's trying to do, but it just felt like he was just somebody to throw a punch to. Like, that's it. But it's fine. He wasn't the main focus. There's a lot more other stuff going on that I can't talk about. That's spoiler. So I was fine with Zod not being the big villain of the movie. Like, you know, the focus is really on Barry and his mom's death. The themes of the movie is about sacrifice. And I think that's the best part of the film. Seriously, this third act delivered such an emotional scene that it got me teared up. And I tear up a lot, but like, that scene was really, really, really special. Can't wait to watch that scene again. And yes, Ezra Miller is horrible. But I will be lying to myself if I didn't say that I thought they did an amazing job in this movie. Their acting was actually really good, and especially in that emotional scene in the third act. When you guys see it, you guys will know Ezra Miller did their thing. Like I said, the action CGI isn't the best. The third act didn't hit for me. I don't think the third act is as strong as the first two acts, especially the second act. There's some fan service moments, and you know, can't talk about that. They are really, really, really insane, and I can't believe I actually saw them, and they actually are real. But you know, they happen. But the way they were handled wasn't good. I don't know why it was shot like that. I don't know why it looked like that. I don't know if that was the point, but the fan service moments didn't look good to me. Especially one of them was just really, really awkward. Like, they kind of do that No Way Home thing. I think No Way Home is fine, and I don't see the complaint people have, like, oh, pause for clapping. I don't think it's that bad. But in this one, it's that bad. There's literally a moment where a fan service moment happens and it just looks terrible. It just looks like a whole computer generated scene. And they paused for a clapping moment and nobody clapped in the theater. I'm not gonna lie. So that was just awkward. So it didn't look great. Maybe it's just that me and it didn't work on me in that moment. Maybe if I see it again, I don't know. But in that moment, I didn't like the fan service moments. Maybe other people will flip out and enjoy them more than me, but who knows. The film's ending and post-credit scene left me a bit confused. I was more confused than happy or even satisfied with the ending. I don't know what's gonna happen going forward. That's all spoiler stuff, so we'll talk about that another day. But yeah, I didn't like it and I'm still really confused about what happened. This film marks the end of the DCEU and the whole Snyderverse thing. So I don't know. I'm just confused. I do think the movie is good, but I think it would really work well if it was released a couple years ago. I think if this movie was released a couple years ago, we wouldn't be where we're at right now with in the current state of DC. But we do need more DC films like this. You can see the director and all the other filmmakers' vision in this movie. You see how much love was put into this movie. That despite all the problems, everything going on with Warner Brothers DC, Ezra Miller, there is a love letter to the Flash and a really emotional and heartwarming story in the movie. These filmmakers set out to make an enjoyable, fun, action-packed summer blockbuster, and I think they succeeded in that. Overall, the film is a lot of fun. Is it a movie we need right now, like Tom Cruise said? Yeah. I think we need more great summer blockbuster movies that the whole family should see. So I definitely recommend it. It's a great Flash story, a great superhero story with wonderful characters and amazing writing. It's not perfect, not the best CGI. The third act isn't amazing, but it does have a lot of heart, and I really appreciate that. A lot of emotional scenes, fun action, especially in the first two acts. But yeah, overall, just a really fun movie and surprising good performance by Ezra Miller. I will give the film 4 stars out of 5, 8 out of 10, whatever it is. But yeah, my name is Mike Verse, and I'm the fastest man alive. And please, please remember, do not bring back Ezra Miller as the Flash!